have fun. Go ahead, Josh. Let's go.
All right, so yeah, we're gonna go over today how to sell a annuity virtually. Okay, Annuity's genius. It's the most powerful annuity software on the market. If any of you guys have ever done a demonstration with me, you guys have heard me say that tons and tons of times. But I'm tired of telling you guys. Okay, I really want to show you how to do it. So, Rick, you sell annuities virtually. Obviously, you love it. Me and Rick have been talking for a few days now. And why should someone who is pretty much they're successful? I mean, they're doing great. They're making, anywhere from $1 million to $2 million in production. Not a bad living. Why should someone in that position kind of go virtual? What are some of the benefits, I guess, to going virtual?
Hey, should I keep all the reasons under an hour?
Yeah, if you could.
Yeah, the coolest thing is I am a face-to-face, belly-to-belly yellow pad guy.
Yeah.
And so if you would have told me, a year ago, whenever, hey, why don't you sell these, online? I would have had a really hard time grasping that, right? And as I started to, tinker around with it and start to try and do that a little bit, it was a little uncomfortable. But some of the things that became really evident to me is, number one, I can live anywhere I want. I can office anywhere I want. My space, office expenses, all that stuff changes. I mean, those reasons were really cool. And then the second thing, though, is that when I'm talking to you, doing a screen share and showing you all this stuff, I have every tool I need at my disposal.
Right.
So I have the ability to, chat with you and get super clear on what it is that you're trying to achieve and immediately provide on solutions that you get to see live. And from the customer perspective or client perspective, what's really cool is because of that, they are no longer restricted to local talent, right? They can go find the best talent on the planet to help them solve their needs.
Yeah.
And so when I started thinking about all that stuff, I got really excited and went, okay, I really have to search this thing. I remember talking to David for the first time last year, about a year ago, I think. And he goes, how did you find us? And I said, dude, I have been searching and Googling and doing, for tools like this. And I found Annuity's genius. And so it was really cool. But
kind of like a match made in heaven, I guess.
Well, for what I do and how I want to do it, this tool is it really works well for if you're going to be virtual.
Right. Yeah, because one of the things about going virtual, and I've been doing virtual sales pretty much my entire professional career. Whether it's over the phone sales or screen sharing sales, whatever it might be. I love the freedom of being virtual because I'm not stuck in an office. I mean, I'm in an office right now, but I can very easily do this from my house. If I wanted to, I could do this on vacation. I don't have to plan my work schedule around my vacation schedule. I mean, how cool would it be to go on vacation and just the first 2 hours when you wake up in the morning, you're not really doing anything. You get a cup of coffee. Why not close some deals? It's very, the flexibility that you have with being virtual, it's unlike anything else. You have minimum overhead. Okay. Everyone who tells me, it's so expensive with, the expenses that I have for paying for an office and this and that. Look, this has minimum overhead, very minimum overhead. I mean, you can even make it a sales goal. People have sales goals of hitting like a certain number in production. Why don't you make a sales goal of this? Sell an annuity on the beach. How cool would that be as a sales goal? Okay, spend more time with family. That's a really key thing. You work all this time. Let's spend some more time with the family, and going virtual really does allow you to do that. So
let's have some sauce.
So what we're going to talk about is the virtual sales process. Okay, everyone knows that there's a process to anything. Rick, you've told me so many times that, are you going to follow someone who, what was that thing you said? Something about someone who has a process or doesn't have a process?
Well, you know what? The system always wins, right? Process always wins. if what you do is different every time, you're going to get different results every time, right? So you build a system, you build a process that gets you the result you're looking for, and you stick to it, right? And you do
Yeah.
it all the time.
Exactly. And so the sales process for going virtual is we have to talk about positioning, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But the 3 steps into this is positioning. Okay. Once you've positioned yourself correctly, you're going to plan with Annuities Genius. Annuities Genius allows you to plan out someone's retirement, but not behind closed doors. It allows you to plan the retirement right in front of the client. In fact, you can, let them join into the process as well. We also give our professional recommendation. Okay, that is so key. So many people think that, I'm here to just, sell a product. Well, I'm sorry, this business is not about pushing products. Okay, we're helping people retire. This is their hard-earned money. They don't want something that they can just buy at Walmart. Someone's pushing a product at them. This is a retirement product. This is going to help them retire so that if they need money when their Social Security isn't doing it for them, if they need money for when they have healthcare expenses, this is what's going to help them in that time of need. And Rick, we've talked a lot about who's the spotlight on, and I think that's really key when you go to position yourself. Who's the spotlight on? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I learned a long time ago from Brian Tracy, going through his stuff, and he said this, and it was probably 30 years ago, but he goes, in any sales situation, always ask yourself who the spotlight is on, and if it's on you, you might make some sales and you might do okay. If it's on your client, so in other words, your client's first, right?
Right.
It will absolutely transform your business. You'll make sales, and in fact, you'll make gazillions more sales, right? But being the spotlight on the client is everything. And you and I talked about this so many times, but now we have the ability with these tools to have the spotlight on them live and let them see this thing unfold before their eyes, which is a really powerful thing.
Yeah.
So let's help people understand the process. Let's start unfolding, I guess, guys.
Hey, before we say that, I have to say this too. So, I was a little afraid of me having to talk people into this type of a virtual thing, right? Me going, oh, come on, Josh, we don't have to meet, right? And one of the interesting things, and it's sad that COVID has happened. However, COVID sped this process up for us. It's kind of like somebody turning 72 and you got to take your minimum distribution, right? We didn't have to tell them to do that.
Absolutely.
It's a mandate. So COVID now puts us in the place where I don't have to tell you to do this. It's made it a reality. So if you're going to do it, oh my gosh, now is such the time, and there's so much less resistance than we've ever had before.
Yeah.
You can guys really have a real lifestyle, like Josh said before, and Rick, a real amazing lifestyle. Like Rick just said, COVID just, it's a terrible thing, but it helped you as an agent to really nail it, to really have your real process, to help people virtually, like Josh said, on the beach, in the mountains, God, anywhere. You just help people, and we're going to show you how right now.
Yeah. So you need some goals and you need some objectives. Okay. What's the goal of this? So in the positioning step, the first step, you want to attract them. You want to, grab your prospects' attention. Okay. You want to bring them into your atmosphere. Okay. And the way you do that is you get them to participate with you. This is not a, one person show. Okay. You are helping them retire. So you want them to be included into that decision-making process. That's why this isn't just a tool. Annuities Genius is a point of sales tool. Okay. This is something that you really want to present in front of them so that they can see their numbers, their money actually doing what you're demonstrating them doing instead of just telling them. Also, you want to build trust and rapport with them. Okay, they're going to tell you their story, and that's good. You want to hear where they're coming from, what their objectives are. And this is how you build rapport. If they tell you, like, look, I want to protect my principal. Well, who doesn't? People might say, well, I want to, have my money grow as much as possible so I can leave it to my grandkids. Well, I can relate to that. I don't have grandkids, but when I do, I would love to leave them a legacy, and you want them to make a decision. That's the number one goal, you want them to make a decision. The only way they're going to make a decision is if you grab their attention, is if you let them participate, is if you build trust and rapport with them. People buy from people they like, people they trust. Okay, so as far as positioning goes, what is it that you're supposed to do to position yourself correctly? We have the goals, we have the objectives. Now, how do I do that? Well, the first step is you got to be like a customer service representative. Okay, you're not going to be a salesman or a saleswoman in the beginning. You're going to be a customer service representative.
An educator.
An educator, exactly. You're going to be answering their questions. You're going to obviously be asking them questions. Okay, it's very important that you make sure to listen. Okay, people love it when you talk about something, let's say within the first 5 minutes. And then a half hour later, you then refer back to what you guys spoke about the last 5 minutes or the first 5 minutes, and you tell them, remember you told me this? They can hear and see that you are listening to them, that you're not just going through this script that has nothing to do with them, but all to do with getting a commission. Okay, it brings all of that down. You have to listen to what your prospect is saying. And I can't stress this enough. Build rapport. Okay, relatability. If you can relate with them, they're going to be able to relate with you. Trust me, you guys are going to become friends. Okay, you should have a good relationship after you guys close the deal. All right, this is something that you should, really want to encourage a relationship with, because it's going to involve referrals and it's going to involve maybe more money down the line. Now, Rick, I'm going to put something on the screen right now. This is the $1 million question, and I want to know if you agree with me, but check this out. Can you see that?
I do. My favorite question.
So can you kind of, from the very beginning, explain to me how you get on the phone with somebody and how do you get to this question right here?
So can I give you, I think you and I talked today about my first from A to Z case my first full case that I did with Annuities Genius. I gave my little presentation and I went through my Genius thing online, with a screen share with somebody. Mm-hmm. Can I just give that story? Because that,
yes, please.
That is so awesome. So I don't know, this is probably a month. It was back in April. And I get a phone call. The gentleman says, hey, Rick, I have my planner right now. My advisor is showing me some annuities from some of the top companies, top selling companies out there. And I'm kind of looking at them and I don't know, I just feel the need to get on their opinion. And I said, awesome. And I said, so, hey, Dave, are you near a computer? Do you have access to a computer? He goes, yes. I said, awesome. I'm going to send you a link to your email address. When you get it, click it. It'll ask you to put your name in. And when you do, I'm going to share my screen with you. And Dave, let me ask you a question. If I could immediately show you how to compare the plans that your current advisor is showing you, and then show you how to find the top performing plans, would that help you? And he said, yeah. That would be totally awesome. And so I had a little slide, and if you want to see some of those slides, I'd be happy to put them up. But I said, first of all, I think there's some things that you should know. I teach folks how to successfully invest in annuities. And I told them, I went on to just say briefly, hey, it's a system I created back in the 90s for the seniors in Arizona. And now what we do is we teach people how to successfully invest in annuities online via screen share. And I think if I give you the foundation of that and then show you how to search, I think what we'll be able to do is absolutely transform what you're trying to achieve. And I had an idea of the companies he was talking about, and I already knew in my head the returns over the past 10 years. And so it was kind of neat to have him go, yeah, I would love to see that. And so I think what this gave me when I did that is an opportunity to immediately find out what he was doing and then immediately show him the result he was looking for. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that was cool. And again, if you would like, I'll flip a slide or two up whenever you want and kind of walk through a couple of things. And then if you would like, I'll show you kind of how I did my search for him live, because he was blown. He was in awe. He was like, wow.
Yeah.
And
let me see. So if you can, you do have the option to share your screen. So if you want, you can
I'm
definitely.
gonna, let me do a screen share here, and I will host disabled participant from screen sharing.
I will change that right
And
now.
by the way, I think I read this to you yesterday, Josh. I sent out my little questionnaire after the sale to the guy, and it was really cool. One of the questions is, how does Rick and Pinnacle compare to other financial professionals you've worked with? And he said, Rick has far surpassed, excuse me, Rick has far surpassed the other two professionals we have worked with in the past.
Wow.
And it was the ability to show him right on the spot a solution.
Yeah, and that's the goal. I mean, you want them to get to the point where you have a referral, and a solid referral. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep. All right, let me see if I can get my screen share to work here. Okay, I'm still disabled. That's true anyway.
Let's see.
And so, by the way, if I get a little excited as I go through this, please jump in, because
Yeah.
I am digging this stuff, man. I'm like a kid in a candy store.
All right, go ahead and try to share your screen now.
Okay, this will stop other screen sharing. Do you want to continue? I
Yeah,
can say
yeah.
yes. All right, so let's do this. Let's see, screen share. Let me see if I can pull this up.
There we go.
All right, so one of the first things that I would really recommend to everybody, whatever your system is, put this thing in a PowerPoint or whatever slide deck you like, okay? And so when Dave called, and kind of what's out there, what I try to help people do is, I'm going to successfully teach you how to invest in annuities, and bluntly, I'm going to transform your life. I'm going to show you how to never worry about your retirement again. So when somebody leaves me, they should be going, oh my gosh, that guy changed my life.
Wow.
And so a system like this, and being able to have the tools that we have access to now, like through the Genius and so forth, allow me to absolutely transform lives. So again, I get really excited about this because I get to do this stuff, and I get to do it live with people. So when I was talking to this client, his name is Dave, the first thing I said is, hey, Dave, really quick, have you found this a little confusing trying to look at annuities? And he was like, yeah, oh my gosh. I said, well, they've become very popular. They're about $139 billion sold last year.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at these things, you might find them a little confusing. They tend to all look alike. And he goes, yeah, man, that has been tough for me. And I said, if you typed in your browser right now, annuities, the last time I did it, 51,700,000 results popped up in a half a second. And he was like, wow. And I started to, so I quickly kind of transitioned into, the current way people buy them and sell them and all that kind of stuff. And, hey, I go to my advisor, go to my banker, maybe I search the web, maybe I go to a webinar or that type of thing. And so one of the things that I said is, sadly enough, though, the old way, people are still making a lot of mistakes. Some people are buying riders they don't need, paying fees they don't need. They're getting into bonuses that are reducing the returns. And one of the things that I found as I started to search some of the annuities, on Annuities Genius, is there's a big difference between top rated, top selling, top performing, and so on. And so I did a quick search for fun a while back, and I looked at one of the top selling annuities, and I compared it to the top performing. And there is a significant difference. And so when I got to this slide, if I said to the client, is it okay with you, Dave, if we do a search for the top performing annuities? And he said, yeah, that would be awesome. And I went on to just quickly say, you know what, companies aren't equal, policies aren't equal, advisors aren't equal. And most of the people are still selling their, and so what I'm going to do is teach you today if that's acceptable to you. And he goes, that would be great. And so this is just part of the process and system that we're talking about. And, some of this stuff I won't go through, but obviously, I talked to him about this should be based on your goals and objectives and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I went on to say to him that, is it okay, if I kind of give you some ideas on the difference between independent advisors, captive advisors, the tools that an advisor should have to help you, and how we can create a blueprint, for you, and then actually go search it. And again, he was going, wow. So I did a brief of fixed annuities. Here's the differences. Here's how they kind of work. And I walked through, some of the differences that way. By this time, this guy on the other end of the phone, you said about building rapport. He knows this guy's in it to win it for me.
Yeah.
My other guys are not showing me any of this stuff. And now he can't even wait to get to the search part. He's like, hey, show me that, man. And I said, good, let's create your blueprint right now.
Yeah.
So what you've talked about is you want to protect your principal, but you want growth, right? And he goes, yeah. So I said, that would be a fixed index annuity. And I said, as far as the term goes, I do a base search with 10 years or less, and we'll make sure we have all the withdrawal features. And then once we have that, let's go search your company. And he was like, awesome. And again, I'm kind of shortcutting this for today, but I said, so one of the things that we do is I'm going to use some software that you'll actually see me do a live search. So you can see for yourself. I said, would that be helpful for you? He goes, yeah. It's almost like, duh.
Why don't we, so this is what I want to do right now. Let's show everyone real quick how easy that actually is.
Let's do the search. If you don't mind, you want me to do it really quick?
Well, I'm going to do it on my end, but if you, let me see here. You got to go to.
I'll stop share.
Yeah, stop share.
And by the way, on my slide, I put the link to my, I put my link right to the Genius. So I touched the slide, it goes right to the Genius, which is awesome.
Right. On yours, can you, because I think I accidentally made you the host. Can you go to where it says panelists, make me the host again?
Okay, let me share. Go up to.
You just go to participants at the bottom.
There we go. Okay, participants.
Panelists, and then you'll click on more. On David's and make him the host.
Yep, got her. Should be done.
All right.
All right. Are you there?
Yep. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here. All right. So we're gonna go to log in. All right. So one of the things that we want you to do is we want you to show off the Genius. Okay. And I'm not meaning to say showing off you. I want you to show off the Genius. So when you're educating your client, because there's really two different kinds of annuities. There's, the income annuities, and then there's a growth annuity. And, or someone wants to leave a legacy. Where you go to do that is you can go to Market Tools and go to the Growth Analyzer. It's right in the name. All right. This is where you look for growth. All right. You can go up here. You have your two modes. You can sort by these performances. So if you wanted to sort by 15 years performance, you just click 15 years performance. That means this whole thing is being sorted by this number right here on the right-hand side. This is the 15-year column. And you can see it's got a 20-year performance and it's got a 10-year performance. All right, if we search by 10 years performance, then you're going to be sorting everything by that number. Now, Rick, what you like to do is you like to search by the worst performance, right? Because then that's going to allow you to say, well, this is the worst case scenario in a sense, right?
Yeah, you know what? And so when I go into these, one of the things that I tell the client is, in that particular example I was giving from that client, we were looking, as you say, for a growth annuity. He said, protect my principal. I want the most amount of growth I can get. And so I went into, the most recent performance and so forth. I blocked out no caps, no fees, no riders, because I was trying to get the biggest one. I said, hey, is it okay if we do B++ and higher for the ratings? And he said, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I said, let's put your premium in there. I think you're going to have about 400 from what he's told me, that the annuity he was trying to leave.
What state was he in?
What's that? He was in Arizona is the search I did. And so what was cool, and then the other thing too is we talked about 10 years or less. So if you go into the surrender charge, I plugged in 10, 8, and 7. Just because of previous searches I've done. the performance was where I wanted it to be. Those three areas were giving us the best.
Mhm.
And you and I talk about this all the time. And I said to Dave, okay, Dave, so here's what we've got. This is kind of like real estate. If you've ever bought a house before, you drive by, the realtor asks you, hey, do you like the looks of that house? No, not really. All right, then I don't want to go in.
Right.
Here's my drive-by right now for my client. So, hey, Dave, so here's a company B++ and higher, and we can talk about ratings later. But wow, last 10 years, 9.84. I think that's something that we should go in and check out. What do you think? And he said, yeah, I'd love to. So, yep, you're right on, Josh. That's exactly how we walk through it.
And then literally you just go to back test.
Yep.
This right here is just unbelievable. You know, what we did with the historian, you guys, I mean, it's beautiful to look at, but if you look at the actual things that we're telling you, like if you're looking for, you know, a 2-year product, that's great. But maybe we're looking for a 2 and a 1 year to kind of offset some things. We give you a 50-50 split, 2-year Barclays and the 1-year Barclay. All right, we can do an 80-20, we can do a 90-10, we can do a 70-30. And you can see what the average rate of return is. You can see the highest performance. You can see the lowest performance. It's pretty phenomenal.
Josh, he blew him away with this.
Yeah.
Is I asked him, with your other guys, he kind of just given you a 25, 25, 25, 25 allocation. And
Yeah.
he said, yeah. And I said, did he show you any supporting information for that? Or was it just kind of a, hey, this is how we do it? And he said, I think it was more of this is how we do it. I said, would you like to not guess? And would you like to see the facts? And he went, wow. And then we educated him just a little bit on, right now it's a good idea to have a balanced index available, an equity index, 1 and 2 year strategies, and maybe some volatility controls. When you show this screen to somebody, he was in the driver's seat. Dave and I explained the different ones. I said, which mix do you kind of feel, best with?
Yeah.
He's choosing because all of this is available to him to do.
Yeah.
There was no way his advisor was going to get this business, by the way, after I went through this, and obviously he didn't.
Right. Exactly. And then, yeah. And so, I mean.
So I guess this has pushed him over the board to trust you, right? Because he knows that you really have his best interest in place, and you really very transparent and basically show him the whole industry in a split second in front of him.
Well, the fun thing is
you're the educator and he makes his own decisions. You just educating him and guiding him like in McDonald's.
You know what? Here's what exactly I said to him, Dave, would you like to see, tell me the name of one of the annuities that your advisor is recommending, and would you like to see how that stacks up? And he goes, sure. I went into the same thing.
Yep, that's a good one. That's what I did many, many times.
And
that's a crusher right there.
And he went, wow. And again, my goal when I go into this is I'm transforming lives. And when you leave me, I want you to go out going, damn, that guy's a rock star.
Exactly. And the way you do that, I mean, so let's say your client is suggesting a particular, whether it's a carrier or a product, you can go right to your annuities database. You put right here into the filter. Let's say he was referring this product, this Guggenheim Highlander 7. So you simply just go over here, you click compare. So now we have it in the compare side by side. And then we click out of it. We choose the one that I think it was Equitrust is the one that you were talking about. So we can just put in Equitrust here. Let's say it was this one. Go over and click compare. Literally that quick. You have both of them side by side.
Live in front of the client.
Exactly.
Not to mention,
you can also put it into
the beauty of the report.
Yep.
Exactly. And it's just as easy as going right up here, clicking on download, saving it to a file, and then sending it right over to them.
You guys, I'm like a kid in a candy store. The more I learn on this thing, I'm like, oh my gosh, the things I can do for you immediately just blow my mind.
Yeah. And this is the kind of stuff that
why go anywhere? Why wait? Why go through this hassle and make yourself a big deal? I'm going to schedule an appointment with you 3 weeks from now. Let's put all this together. It's going to take me 3 weeks to do research. God, in 3 weeks, you can lose that customer in 3 weeks.
No.
He have a way to go to another broker dealer, to another bank, to another agent, talk to his friend, to his wife. It's like, don't you want to excite him right away and get the flow and make sure you control the situation, right, Rick? You
Hey,
control.
once you get the skis on and you're heading downhill, don't stop.
Don't take the skis off, God.
And this is where, I mean, so basically you would just go in and create the client. You put his name, his state, investment type was 400,000. Do you have any chance by what his age was?
He was actually 74.
74 years old. Once you create the client, and what's great is they can see you doing this. Now he can see his information right here and just go, okay, let's play around with your numbers.
And not to mention, before you go there, if you run the questionnaire for every customer, this annuities questionnaire, direct BI, best interest consumer suitability questionnaire that you must run in the next few weeks, it's a must. By the way, I absolutely love this. Let me tell you why. After you run the questionnaire, and you can just go to any existing customer right now, so you don't have to run the questionnaire to show them. On the bottom, it's going to be exactly what he was looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. And this is actually what you want to leave them with, because what the best interest consumer suitability profile is going to allow you to say to them is, look, I've shown you all of these things that I was able to do really quickly, but I want to best help you in your particular situation. And so I have a best interest consumer suitability profile that I would love for you to fill out. That way I can really understand your main financial objectives. That way we can plan your retirement without any flaws, without any guessing, without any discrepancies.
Take the guess out.
You know, you take the guess out, just like Rick and David have been saying. And it's real simple. I mean, if you want to fill it out with them over the phone during the screen share, you can do that. It's 5 pages long. If you want to send it to them and they can then fill it out on their own time,
Yep.
you can go to share public link. The link is automatically going to be copied for you. Now you just go to your email, paste it, send it to them. And we've made it to where when they click on that link and they open it up and they fill out the questionnaire, once they click update, it then will automatically update into your CRM system. You'll get a notification and it's going to be right under here. This is facts. Okay, the questionnaire will be completely filled out. And that way, when you go to your dashboard, okay, you're going to have right here all of their main financial objectives. Okay, that way they can see.
Choose a customer.
That way they can see that you have their main financial objectives in mind. And again, it's a great way for you to build rapport, build transparency, and include them into that sales
Rick,
process.
that particular customer, he wanted growth or he wanted income follow the growth?
We were just protecting principal, max growth. And Josh, just to chime in there, it's really cool when you're looking at this, because you show them this, and then here's the knockout question. So based on those things that we just talked about that were important to you at the beginning of our search, does it look like we met all of those? And I reiterated what they were, and he said perfectly, said, do you have time to go to the app right now?
Wow. And that's the key. I mean, that's if you don't ask for it, you're not going to get it.
And he said, you could do that right now? And I said, would that be best for you? He goes, that'd be great.
Yeah. Like for instance, if we go to, let's say we're looking at income, okay, we can look at income when we click on the actual annuity. Let's just say, for instance, we clicked on this one. All right. When you go to info, when you go to carrier, you can actually hop right onto the carrier's website when you ask them that question. Hey, do you want to fill out the app right now? You do? Perfect. Let's go ahead and hop onto the carrier's website, log in, fill out the e-app. Look, we have clients that are actually doing this within a few seconds. Okay, they're getting right to the e-app. We have an agent that closed an annuities case in 30 minutes from start to finish. And if you don't believe me, you can go and read the testimony yourself. It's unbelievable. 30 minutes to sell one annuity is kind of unheard of. And if anyone who's sold an annuity would say, yeah, I have a hard time believing that. But hopefully, after seeing kind of the process that we're walking you through today and seeing the capability that you have with Annuities Genius that you can do right in a split second in front of your client, look, this is changing the industry for the good. And what that means is you can close an annuities case in 30 minutes or less.
Yeah, Rick,
It's unbelievable.
what all happened, I guess, which other benefits you can help the guys right now as an agent, an expert yourself? You using the Genius on an everyday basis. I can see that every morning. But what else you can, we can give the guys in this first, today, guys, is the first presentation we're doing. We're going to be unrolling this today, kind of a warming up day. We're going to have a quite few more lessons. We're going to give you the whole structure, the whole flow in the next few sessions. But is there anything else you like to add today?
Yeah, there'd be a couple things that I think are really, really important. And you told me to do this, Dave, so I'm going to give credit to you.
Go ahead.
But you're like, dude, make your slide deck, pick your product deck. So I think the ability to, make your product deck, and watch all the training videos in here, I have found to be really helpful. I need to know now, and I need to know quick, and that's kind of my speed. So I go in, you were like, dude, watch the video. I was like, oh, thank you. I didn't know that was there. And so I went in and I built my product deck because, some of the stuff, I just retired my securities licenses a few years back. So I have to come in here and make my deck that, is available for me. Right. And so that is really, really cool. And I think the other thing that is really, vital is make very clear what your planning system is, and then build it into into the Genius. And what I mean by that is, one of the things I teach clients is how to preserve principal throughout retirement, how to preserve income throughout retirement, how to increase income throughout retirement, do it without market risk, and do it without fee. Yeah. And I say that because when I do my search, my presentation now, when I'm in the Genius, all I'm doing is walking right through the stuff I taught them in my little presentation, showing it in the Genius. So there's no, they get to see what I said, right? You said that earlier, Dave. Tell them what you tell them, and tell them what you told them, right? And so, so when I click into my search stuff and we're actually doing what we said, it's crazy. So, I mean, at least for my planning, I know exactly what I'm trying to achieve for the client. I've built it into my presentation with Genius. It's pretty hard to beat if I'm competing with you.
Right. Exactly. And I mean, if you have the Genius, I mean, it's really hard when someone shows up with a few pieces of paper and, 3 or 4 days later.
And you show up with a whole army.
and Josh, what's our favorite saying? What did we say yesterday? It was hilarious. We were saying, hey, if I go through all this, hey, does that meet all of your needs? And if they say no, you got to go.
Yeah, exactly. You got to go, man. If you're not impressed by this, then I'm obviously not the right guy to help you.
Yeah, exactly. So what Rick basically and Josh just said to you guys is, the Genius is truly changing lives. And if the customer, your potential lead, cannot see the power of you really being sincere with him, transparent, have real best interest of his and his family in heart. And like Rick just said, if after this he said no, then just tell him you wish him well. Yeah.
Hey, really quick too, I think just a couple other things, Dave, that made this super easy for me to your question is, pick one of the screen shares, whatever, people use Zoom, I use join.me right now. Just because it's super quick and easy. I have the paid version and I have my own private link, and pick a screen share and then practice using it with your wife or your kid or whoever, but make sure it's seamless. So when I'm on the phone with you and I go, hey Dave, are you near your computer? Good. Can I send you a link really quick? And then be able to walk them through super fast and what to do, because you don't want that to be any holdup.
Yep.
And then have a little bit of your presentation prepared and have your well-oiled machine of here's how I do my search. Because when I'm explaining my search to them, I ask them each one, hey, Dave, would it be okay if we did 10 years or less? Hey, Dave, would it be okay if they're B++ and higher? Would it be okay if we look for that highest performance? And I keep asking those questions. And by the time that we're done, they're thinking they told me what to search for. They found it and they want it now.
Right. Yeah, no, and again, that's all about